welcome to the Roast B2B Video Ads with Content Beta. We have Sara Ajemian, VP Brand at SOCi. Sara, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to do this. I think the topic's great. I love digging into ads and creativity, so I think this is going to be really fun.
So, Sara, let's start with a quick intro.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Sure. I'm Sara Ajemian. I am currently the VP of Brand and Communications at SOCi. We're an AI marketing platform for local marketing, covering search, social media, and reputation management. Just a quick bit about me. I've been in communications and kind of corporate marketing for almost 20 years, have held a variety of roles, both on the comm side, the marketing side, in-house, and spent a number of years running portfolio practices for PR agencies. So I've been around for a while. I've seen a lot of evolution, particularly on the creative front.
That's pretty exciting, Sara. I think you have a lot of perspective based on your deep experience.
I hope so. I'm always happy to provide it. So yeah, thanks for having me, Rish.
Quick intro. So, I'm Rish. I'm the founder at Content Beta. We do marketing creatives for tech companies. So whether if you're working with boring ad creatives or you want to scale product content, just talk to me. Okay, so I'll share my screen, Sarah, and we'll go through the ads together. I'm preparing my screen now, and we are here. Okay, so perfect. So I think agenda is not too detailed. We first talk about why B2B ads are boring these days. I mean, Sarah, the reason why we are hosting this is I've heard a lot of uh, people, I mean, not marketers, but people who are selling, marketers who are selling to their ICP, they tell me that B2B brands are boring. Some of them here have even coined this word, B2B is boring to boring. So probably would first like to have your thoughts. Why are B2B ads are boring? Then we'll jump on to 10 videos plus static ads, and then some on the closing notes. But over to you, Sarah, on the first point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer that people think B2B is boring because B2C, consumer ads are so exciting. But honestly, at the end of the day, if you strip away the B2B or B2C, framing of it, we're just people trying to connect with other people, no matter what industry you're in. And so I think if you distill it to that and sort of think about connecting with people on the fundamental human basis of what makes us interested to each other, then it opens up a lot of creativity, and you don't have to think about it as, well, we're just selling software or we're selling something that does this for a business. No, there are fundamental truths that could come out that you can play with. And you see that in B2C storytelling, right? Like, it could be really humorous, but it could be really practical. They're really good at building the context as to how this thing fits into your life and makes it better. And I think from a B2B standpoint, when we can do that, it sings. And when you don't, and you sell just on maybe product or something that's too technical, then it is going to be a little boring. But I think there's a big, I'll say, revival of creativity in B2B, especially over the last few years.
I was talking to April Dunford, and I don't know if you've seen some LinkedIn post about why can't B2B brands act like B2C. I don't know if you've seen Liquid Death kind of
Yes.
branding, which is like just water but really bold and courageous. And then April, she told me that, hey, you are selling to CEOs and CFOs. Do you want to look like Liquid Death? So I think,
Mhm.
yeah, we want liberty, but sometimes you can't become Liquid Death of the B2B world. What do you think?
Right. I agree with that. I mean, I think they have tapped into their audience in such a smart way, but they're not afraid to go there. I mean, they're, selling tiny cans of water and creating an ad that supports the idea of, tiny being great and playing on some traditional, maybe not so safe for work experiences. But they're really fun. But again, I think the thing that they've nailed is like the idea of knowing what their consumers like and what their consumers are going to find engaging. That might be funny, that might not be funny. But that's the truth, right? Like from a B2B standpoint, you have to know what makes your buyer, your audience tick. You have to know what they find interesting. And then you can pull on that emotion. You can pull on the pain of it. You can pull on the happiness of it. There's so many layers to that. But I agree, inevitably, some CEO somewhere is going to say, I saw this liquid death ad. We need to do this for our brand. And you're like, well, let's stress test that. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I think there is one B2B company that's doing this type of sort of, liquid death-esque storytelling really well. It's called Air, their creative platform. I don't know if you've seen any of their ads, but they're just on the pulse of it, and it's really resonating for their audience. I think they just wanted a Webby for one of their ads that they did on a very low budget.
Wow, I'll take a look.
Yeah.
Great. Let's move on to the next section, which is looking at 10 video ads. Now, just for everybody's like a full disclosure, right? I mean, we are. It's not like a typical roast. We're trying to learn. I would say it's like more on the educational side as opposed to the fun/comedy side. So I think both Sarah and I will just pick up things which we would want to change, and this necessarily doesn't come from the brand. There's nothing. But we don't have any problem with any brand. We're just trying to learn from these ads. Alrighty. So I think this is the one by 10x bot. This was, I think, a billboard ad we picked up from Reddit. What are your thoughts, Sarah?
Immediately, it's hard for me to understand the context. And if I'm seeing this driving in particular, that 10x bot to me, look, at first I thought, is that 100%? I understand it now, but I'm not sure what it's trying to say. I get the emotion. I like that someone's there cheering and he's thankful, and it seems like there's a money-saving aspect to this, but I don't know enough to really understand what it is or where it's saving me money or time. I'll say if that's the benefit too.
Right. In fact, it was confusing for me too, and one of the popular thing on comment on Reddit is who approved this ad to go on the billboard. But yeah, it's confusing. I mean, you don't know the brand, you don't know what are they trying to say. But all I know that it's AI and it saves some cost.
Mm-hmm. There's a universal truth in that, right? So at least you can hook into that. But yeah, I wanna know more, which is great, but especially if it's on a billboard and it looks like it's probably in the city, so maybe it's near the highway. I don't have enough time to register it all, take a look at it, and then think about it perhaps as I'm driving by. Maybe if you're seeing it on a train as you're passing by. But I agree, I want a slight bit more context.
Now this one is from Google, right? So, but I mean, I know. Sorry, I clouded that your mind with that. But what do you think about this?
It's my first impression is I don't know if I'm smart enough to figure it out, and I assume since it's from Google, then that's probably intention. I might not be the right audience for it, but it's a big concept to fit on a billboard, and maybe the channel isn't right. Like sometimes I think when we go out with great ideas, they're still great ideas. They're probably just better suited for a different channel. This probably would have been better suited for a digital format rather than a static outdoor ad.
So, full context. So, this is from a billboard in 2004, and they intentionally didn't use the logo. And the ad was to recruit the brightest mind in computer science during that time. And I clearly get that intention, but like how you said, I think this is not the channel because you waste a lot of dollars in showing this ad to non-audience who will never get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you get into an ROI conversation, right? If the intention, as you said, is to hire the smartest minds, then maybe it needs to be elsewhere. But then I don't know, maybe they did sort of geo-target the placement and got a couple people coming through. It certainly makes me think, oh, I need to understand what this is and maybe explore a little bit more of math.
And this one also is from San Francisco City. Um, what do you have to say about this? So if you can see, this is intercom. Yeah, this is intercom ad, and I think behind this is FHQ. But this one, over
Mhm.
to you, Sarah.
Um, it's a lot of words. It's a lot to read. And it looks like maybe, I think we were talking about this, maybe they're trying to A B test in real time. But again, good idea, good intention, maybe not the right format. I think the thing that jumps out to me most is it's definitely a crowded stretch of highway. And I feel a little bad for Zip HQ because I think their ad behind, from a copy standpoint, really pops. And I think there's probably a better way for Intercom to stress test this. There's also no way to give feedback, right? So how do they know what people are responding to and thinking to? Maybe a QR code, or again a good execution just in a different channel.
Thanks. We'll now move to some of the video ads. So I'll play the video ad, and then we can talk about it. I know this is not a typical B2B ad, but what do you think about this, Sarah?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely play in that emotional tension, right? The idea of life being short, I think they pulled out really well, and it's funny. Um, it probably certainly got a lot of people talking when it came out. I think now there needs to be maybe a stronger connection to the play more. Like they spent a lot of time building the tension on life being short and showing that physical transformation as you sort of live and die. But the Xbox connection there and the idea of sort of play more, I would maybe want to experience that a bit more. Like play more how. Um, but I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure it got a lot of people talking. It's still really funny.
I think one thing which stood out for me is that in this entire ad creative, they're not even talking about Xbox, right? They're not even
Mm-hmm.
showing the product. They're not even trying to promote that. And something like this makes me wonder that, hey, some of the best ads I remember are the one which are non-promotional, especially on social media, right? Because nobody in
Yeah.
the world wants to be targeted with ads. And if I see something which is non-ad material, especially like I don't know if you've seen the UGC side, even in the B2B space, they don't look like ads. They are still ads, but they don't like very promotional in nature. What do you think
Mm-hmm.
about non-promotional ads?
I love them. I mean, again, if you're leading with promotion too soon in the process, it turns people off, as you said. But if you can connect with them, if you can find something, if you can sell them on sort of the vision or the feeling that they have, then there's a hook to learn more. And then you can sell product more down funnel, but especially if it's on a top line awareness ad or something where you're really just trying to get people curious and interested, not leading with product is the way to go. Hooking them on that, emotion, that perspective, the thing that we'll find interesting. And then testing it. Maybe what's interesting to one audience isn't so interesting to another, but it gives you a lot of, creative ideas to play with.
What is best practices when in your head when somebody wants to think about ad creative? I know you would have done a lot in your career, or maybe what are the best? I mean, when a demand gen guy comes to you that, hey, I want to create an ad creative, what are the smart questions you would ask them in order to figure out, hey, this is what we should be doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it always starts with intention, and I'm a big believer in intention across the marketing funnel. What are we trying to do, but also where are we trying to end up? What's the end goal or the North Star? Is it a campaign? Is it a, a singular effort over a couple of weeks? Is it competitive displacement? What are we trying to do? And then you layer on, who are we reaching? What are we trying to get them to do when we're reaching them? What's the insight that we have here? So essentially, you're building out that creative brief, but it has to start with the intention, because great ads are great, but if they don't do anything, if they don't actually meet the goal that you're trying to achieve, they're sort of wasted effort. So I start there, and then you build out, well, what's the right channel? Where's this audience? And then you layer on creativity. I think a lot of times what happens is we start with a creative idea and kind of have to back into the brief, which causes a lot of maybe creative frustration, or there's a lot of time spent on that idea without really fully thinking through the full experience for the audience.
You said you said really in a short way, but what I see is people like they start picking up templates to see what their competitors are doing. Just pick
Yeah,
up the template and do this, and I think they miss that intent.
I agree.
Um, yeah.
And I think AI, just to pause on that, because I've been talking about this a lot lately, I think AI is helpful for brainstorming. Like there are a lot of things that can come out of an idea spun out of maybe ChatGPT that gives you a basis to build. But to your point, Rish, just that, like if you just go with, oh, well, here's the creative idea, or here, just take what I saw somebody else do and put it in our brand, it usually doesn't work because the intention is lost. I will sort of push a little on the idea that ChatGPT and AI is great, but if it's done at the cost of strategy, then it's probably not done with the right intention.
That's it. Um, okay, now this is by ClickUp. I'll play the video. I'll take a pause and yeah, we can talk about it.
Yeah, there are a couple things I think about. So I love the start, and it's something that we've done with some of our video storytelling at SOCi is take the audience on the journey. Work is disconnected. Wait, no, it's not just disconnected. Like it's almost they're showing the audience the creative strategy and the sort of brainstorm in real time. And then I love that hook of we fixed it. It's like the aha moment. And sometimes I wish it would go a little faster. It is a bit long. And I think there are some messaging points. Like there's a point in here where it said AI did something with chat. Maybe they could have said click up, fix that. However, I think it's a great way to show the promise, and you feel that tension, right? Like I can watch this, I'm a ClickUp user, but we also use Slack, and I know how frustrating it is when things are taken out of ClickUp chat and into Slack, and this sort of gives solution storytelling a real emotional layer, and I think it works. I think it works to show off the product in this way because you've got to get people inspired to go try it. Like I think that's the real intention here. If I'm a user, I want to try this with my team now. I love that point of being able to just sort of tie a task right to a statement in chat. But if I'm not a user, maybe this helps me understand how AI can work for me in ClickUp, and maybe I'm starting to look at ClickUp in a different way.
I think I like the comment which you said in the first that, hey, this hook is way too long. I mean, I like the hook that they're talking about the exact problem,
Mm-hmm.
but it's I think the hook is 16 seconds long.
It is.
And normally in video ads, if they don't see in first 4 or 5 seconds, the viewer normally loses interest depending upon where they are in their life right now.
Yeah.
But I think if I can show this in the first 4 or 5 seconds, I think I have them, even if it's just plain text.
Yep. And we look at that too. I mean, what ClickUp could do here, what anyone could do, is look at the metrics, look at the viewer metrics. Where's the drop off? We've taken some of our longer videos and started to say, okay, there's a drop off at 20 seconds. What if we took maybe what's sitting at 40 seconds and pulled that to the front? Like, are there places where we could shorten it and sort of change around the flow of the video that might make it punchier, make people view longer? So there are a number of ways where you could essentially kind of slice and dice your long form videos into shorter ads and see how those work. Maybe you lose context, but maybe you get a great 15-second out of it too.
Okay, let's look at the next one. No, which one is
Hiring a
this?
skydiver.
Okay, so this one is actually a concept ad, um, uh, but you can take a look at
Hiring
it.
a
It's less
skydiver.
of a roast and mostly a concept ad. Yeah.
Hiring a skydiver to access your cloud backup. Just use Cloud Alley.
So this one is a 5-second ad. Um, what do you think, Sarah, about this? It's we actually created for a client, but how would you improve this?
So I like the idea of hiring a skydiver. Like, I think the start to the video is interesting. I'm not sure the
Hiring a
connection between hiring a skydiver and then just using the product. Like, is it that you're sort of jumping out of the sky with no direction? Like, there's maybe a little message gap there.
Hmm.
But I think the visual of someone in the sky coming down at high speed is certainly something that would, pick up someone's attention.
I think the hook is great, but yeah, you're right. The messaging doesn't connect to the value proposition of the product. But I think my message to all is, I think using AI to create hooks is an amazing value proposition of how to use AI with ads, right? I mean, if you're clear with, like how Sarah said, if you're clear with intent, if you're clear with the channel, what you want your viewer to do, now just focus on how to create the best hook. Previously, something like this would take a lot of production time, VFX and After Effects, but with AI, it's just a prompt. But you have to be clear about what you want, but it's just a prompt.
Yep. Yeah. And I think that's where you can have some creative fun. I mean, you could take this and say, okay, now I need maybe a bridge statement from skydiver to this, or if we're thinking about using Cloud Ally, maybe it's a different play on cloud than it is skydiving. But I think to your point, using AI as a brainstorm partner, you can get some really good things out of it. I've yet to see it where, like, you put in a prompt and it spits it out and it's perfect without some human intervention. But I really have found value in the idea of using it as sort of a neutral brainstorm.
So we'll go to the next one. And this is by Pipedrive. I'll play the video.
This is the story of how Pipedrive can accelerate your business growth. By automating admin when everyday tasks start slowing you down. So you can reach your destination quicker. Pipedrive, driving business growth.
I like the idea of this one too. I think the metaphor could be stronger if, when she's at the crossroads, maybe it wasn't a desert. Like, there's a little bit of dissonance for me between the idea of the desert and slowing down, although I understand that the desert is sort of an expanse and there's nothing there, but maybe a bottleneck or some sort of like moment there where there was actually something sort of actually slowing her down, rather than just sitting at a crossroads and trying to find directions. But it's well done. I think the length is great. Like, it gets a good message across.
But I was actually, so I know I'm a Pipedrive customer, so I know Pipedrive really well. But I was actually thinking, what if somebody doesn't know what is Pipedrive? That it's a CRM, and I mean, even if I mean, it's a great cinematic video, I'm full 100 marks for that. But what problems can Pipedrive solve for me? I felt if they could have highlighted that, maybe visually, like maybe text cues or something on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
As a non-Pipedrive, somebody who doesn't know the Pipedrive brand might benefit.
Yeah, I like your point about adding some text cues on the screen, or even if it was, at the intersection directions there are signs. I think that would definitely make it stronger. And you're right. And I don't know much about Pipedrive, but I know enough to make the connection of, okay, growth, there's got to be some business component to this. But I think that your idea is a great one.
And then we go to the last one. So this one is remove first. I get targeted by these ads a lot. I don't know, Sarah, if you see these ads. But let's take a look.
Behold the worthy souls who seek the post of accountant.
Huzzah! And how many dwell within our legal borders?
One, my liege.
A beast?
With thumbs, my lord.
Clever. Clever. I like the concept. I want to expand it a little bit more, but again, to that point of emotional tension and like really going there, this idea of hiring like it's 1425, playing on medieval times or ancient times, or being stuck in the past. I think it's a good execution of that trope. And I do want a little bit more, but I think it's pretty clever.
Well, I love that, and I think this one is also created fully with like at least the production part is done with AI. So all the characters, all the imagery which you see is all with AI.
Great.
Sarah, how do you use AI when you work on ad creatives?
Well, we're working through that. Like I said, I like to use it a lot as an initial brainstorm. At SOCi, we have an in-house design team and a video producer, and they're fantastic at sort of taking concepts to life. We've been testing some video tools. My interest there is, what can be done faster? Is it faster with a tool, or is it faster with a person? And where does the tool augment the person? So we've been testing out a lot of platforms. I haven't found one that fits, and like I said, I haven't found one that's really nailed it on the prompting from a creative standpoint. But I'd love to know whoever Remo first used, because I think this is done really well.
Correct. And Sarah, the closing notes. What are your biggest takeaways from this conversation?
I'm gonna come back to two things. One, I think, is just the strategy. What are you looking to do? What's the intention of the effort? What are you looking to drive? And if you're constantly rooted in that intention, then the story sort of sells itself and everything feels aligned to that. The second thing I think is play with emotion. It doesn't have to be happy. It could be painful. It could be, a number of different scenarios. But the more that we remember that, again, we're just humans talking to other humans at the end of the day, and we create something that's universally easy to connect to, I think our ads are always stronger for that.
I love your ads, and my biggest takeaway was your statement. Look at intent first, channel second, and then the creativity. And not the opposite. And I think second, look at the hook. Always make sure that you grab the attention first 4 or 5 seconds, because that's when somebody has maximum attention.
Yep, absolutely. And if it doesn't work, then cut it, right? Like, don't let a long effort go to waste. If you've done a 1.5-minute video and the drop-offs there, look at the data, look at the metrics, cut it down and try to use it in a different way. I mean, especially now with the algorithm, who knows who's seen what, and it could certainly extend your content and your campaign life, trying new things.
That's great, Sarah. Thank you so much for taking our time and sharing your experience with us.
Thanks so much for having me. This is the best way to start my day.